Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cal bringing you another video on your channel today. So how you guys doing? What's going on? Hope you like that intro. We're gonna be talking about detaching from the matrix, detaching from your thoughts, detaching from your desires, wants, needs, everything that kind of pulls you away from who you truly are. And so I have found this within myself on a day-to-day basis because when meditating, when outside, and I'm like, I feel these impulses to always be chasing something. Always, my mind wants to have a grip on something. My mind always wants to know what's going on next. And therefore, since I'm chasing something in the past, right, since I'm trying to lay down a schedule, there's nothing wrong with the schedule, but my constant obsession over, I'm not being able to be present within that moment, be a being, and just enjoy life around me. My mind is always somewhere else. And don't get me wrong, like a lot of times through my recognition of this, I'm able to enter the present moment a lot more. But since it has been programmed within me, right, this repetition of always wanting to move out of the moment into like the next thing, right? What's next? What's next? What's next? And then once I get to that next, what's next after that? When is it enough? When is it where I can just sit back and just be? Because everything, when you're just in a being state, is perfect around you and you can just experience. And I noticed when I meditated, right, and I got not necessarily rid of these needs and desires, I just kind of detached from them. I changed my relationship with them, and I kind of just let them be as they are. They begin to fade because you'll notice if you don't feed fuel to the flame will die out. And essentially that's the same thing. Once I stop placing attention on these needs, these desires, even though they're subconsciously, over time, a couple minutes go by, they leave and they fade. And I was outside, and I know this may sound odd to you guys, but I literally was just sitting with the tree observing nature. What is observing to you guys? Observing is effortless. It does not take any effort. But why is it so hard to do? Why is it just so hard to sit there alone, without your thoughts, without desires, without your needs? Why does it feel like I'm not doing enough? Why does it feel like I'm not productive? And these are the questions I ask myself on a day-to-day basis. And the reality is I'm just not in the moment as much. And these programs, these constructs from this man-made society, I'm not saying the man-made society is bad, but ultimately it has taken a toll on my well-being because I'm not able to be a human being. I'm a human doing. And I'm constantly jumping around from one thing to the next, one thing to the next, and I'm not being present within the moment. So this is kind of a big thing with detaching. And so I found when I just detached and I was in the moment as much as possible and I stopped identifying with my mind, everything was whole. I became a vibrational match to everything around me. And when you're in an environment where you're a vibrational match to everything around you, so if I'm in a shitty environment, I'm gonna be feeling shitty. But if I'm in like a good environment, and you'll notice, since nature is a being state, right, it's complete, it's whole, you'll feel complete and whole. It's a reflection of your internal state, essentially. With this, I realized this is, if you're going to take anything away from this video, listen to this, listen very closely. When we begin to think, when we begin to make assumptions, judgments, we begin to divide reality. And so with that being said, when you take a step back and you observe all your needs, desires, wants that are essentially based on thoughts that divide up the whole, you begin to move more into the whole because you're not making those perspectives. You're not constantly, looking at something from one angle. Picture yourself in an arena. When you're just sitting in the stands, right, you have a different view than everyone else. That's just like perspective. Everyone has a different view. Everyone has a different story. Ever hear, like, there's two sides to every story? No, there's like a fucking billion sides to every story. There's a lot of truths, but they're fragments. And with those fragments, we can never understand the whole. And this is the problem with thinking, because I'm not saying thinking is a bad thing. Thinking is a great tool. It should not be identified as you. It should ultimately be the way around. We should be the being and use that tool when we need it. For example, like work or schoolwork, or critically thinking to solve a problem or something like that, or reasoning or logic or something like that when it's useful. But when we're overthinking, such as being outside, meditating, and overall just unnecessary type of activities, when you use thinking, it's cause a great deal of grief and it can cause suffering. And I noticed when I was able to detach, everything was so much more simple. When I did not think, when I just stopped thinking and I was just being present in the moment, the here and now. And even though I felt those needs pulling me away to do something, go inside, stop meditating, stop being out in nature, I just let everything flow naturally. And it was great because I noticed how much I self-create problems for myself. Like I take a perspective, and ultimately I believe so much in that perspective that it dictates my reality. So for example, I took a final exam today for my winter class, and I was like, oh, fuck me, man. Like, this test is not going good. Like, I ended up doing pretty well in the test, but time was crammed, and like I was thinking like the worst stuff. I literally couldn't think of this problem, and I constantly kept thinking to myself, rehearsing in my head, telling myself a narrative, telling myself a story, and it ultimately dictated my reality and pulled me out of the moment due to the fact that I was paying too much attention to the thoughts rather than the actual test itself. Right? So it kind of created this conflict of interest. Here and now is always peaceful. It's great, and once you, like I said earlier, once you become a vibrational match to everything around you, that reflects into you. And it also, if you can develop that within yourself, it reflects outwards as well towards other people, even your cat, because your cat is, let me tell you, animals are beautiful. Animals are always enlightened. They're always in the moment. They're unconditioned. I'm going to do a whole nother video on that. But so with that being said, detach, guys. Watch your needs. Watch your desires. And, I'm not saying wants, desires, or any of that is bad. No, it is not by any means. But you want to coexist with them. Create a balance, a harmony. When you know a desire is okay, but like when you realize that you're overthinking, when you realize that these thoughts are kind of manifesting your reality in a bad way, right? You just kind of take a step back and just, not think and just enter that simple being, that simple whole, intuitively understanding the 5D. It really creates a great life, and you avoid creating a great deal of suffering for yourself. And it is 99.99% of times in your life, identifying with thought is going to be the root cause to your suffering. Just watch. That may not sound convincing to you, but I'm telling you, man, that to me resonates a lot. So with all that being said, guys, love yourself because I love you, and yeah, peace the fuck